people think that because they can be funny sometimes that they're as good as a comedian, but a comedian's doing something different.
It's an art form, and everyone's like, what's the line and all that, and go freaking jump on stage and learn it. Because it took me 10 years to figure it out, so there's nothing I can tell you to teach it to you. And also, I don't want to teach it to you. I don't care if you ever learn how to do comedy.
Hey, I'm Sam Sanders. Thanks for checking out my show this week. So, a thing I've been thinking about a lot since the election is how this big shift in our politics will affect entertainment. How will a change in president change the way we laugh, what we laugh about, what we find entertaining? My guest this week is the perfect person to ask that question. He is a stand-up comedian, an actor, a foodie, a Daily Show correspondent, and frequent host. I'm talking about Ronny Chieng, star of the new Hulu series Interior Chinatown. I'm so stoked to have you here. Seriously, thank you for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, I was watching one of your specials this morning, getting ready to come in, and that's a great way to start the morning. I got to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, comedy doesn't usually work in the morning, to be honest, but I'm glad it
worked.
I'm glad it worked in that situation.
It worked. Yeah. You know, I got to say, having been a fan of yours for years, watching your stand-up, watching your Daily Show stuff,
kind, thank you.
I never thought that I would see you doing kung fu on screen.
Oh.
And here we are.
Yeah, I guess it's almost inevitable.
Wait, why is
Asian
that?
guy in entertainment, actually. Actually, I think I did other fight scenes. I've done fight scenes before.
Okay.
I did this show, American Born Chinese, on Disney Plus, and I also did martial arts on that thing. So, yeah, it's been done it a few times.
How much prep is involved for you? Like, because you're doing the moves.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, I was lucky that they designed it so it was achievable for someone with me with very limited skill sets, so we could keep the action on me without having to swap someone out. So I was lucky they let me do that. But I mean, it's a lot of prep, but really it's just world-class stunt guys taking the hits, making your hits look good, and designing something that looks good on camera but is easy to achieve. Yeah. So the stunt team deserves all the credit on that one.
Yeah. You said earlier that it was inevitable. What do you mean by that?
Oh, it's just if you're an Asian dude on TV. I mean, and to be quite honest, it's something I also fantasize about doing. If you're an Asian guy growing up, you kind of watch a lot of Stephen Chow and Bruce Lee and whomever, and so I guess there's always this fantasy of like doing like a fight scene, Jackie Chan style, using the equipment in the room in a fight scene, which is very Jackie Chan. There's always a fantasy of doing that. So
I imagine though that some might say, well, never do a kung fu scene because you should buck the stereotypes.
I know.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, that's valid to that. I used to struggle with that. I mean, but on the show that we're doing, we're making fun of TV tropes. Yeah. So the Interior Chinatown, the kung fu scene that we're doing is actually we're literally meta referencing the fact that like Chinese guys on TV inevitably get into this kung fu fight scene. Yeah. And we're not just commenting on it, we're like kind of making fun of it. Oh yeah. So in that sense, we get to have our cake and eat it too. Okay. Because we get to have the fight scene, but also make a broader
commentary about the fight scene.
Yeah, about how Asian guys. I mean, the whole show is meta commentary. Interior Chinatown on Hulu is meta commentary on Asians on TV and in American society.
This is a good moment to tell folks what the show was about. Interior Chinatown on Hulu. Yeah. We've already established it's this meta commentary on so many things around identity, but it's also this like crime caper. Describe the show for
man.
Folks.
It's a very hard show to elevator pitch. So if you have less than 5 seconds on TikTok to listen to this, it's over. I can't even explain this. Yeah. It's based on a best-selling book by Chao Ji. So the concept has succeeded in a free market capitalism environment. So trust that it's a good idea, first of all. Don't just take our word for it. The free market has spoken. This is a best-selling book. And the idea in the book is it's the very surface level of the story is two background characters in a Law and Order type procedural TV show who don't know that they're in a TV show. And so they're kind of constantly questioning their reality as background characters. and that's the launching point. And then it really becomes meta commentary on the medium of TV itself, the place of Asian people on American TV, which is obviously an allegory for the place of Asian people in American society. And then it becomes, I guess, a story for anyone, regardless of your race, Asian or not, who has ever felt like they're a background character in a story that's going on around you, and you have no voice to that. So it really speaks to all of that, you know. And on top of that, there's a fun mystery in a crime mystery on the to tie it all together. But that's really the most surface level reading of it.
I think that was a great elevator pitch.
Man,
Be proud of
if the
that.
elevator's like stuck in the shaft for like 5 minutes, if it's in between floors, I can probably pitch it. But yeah.
When they pitched it to you, were you like, huh?
No.
What?
No, because I read the book, and
Okay.
so I read the book. I knew it was going to be great. In fact, when I read the book, the book is written. If you're a creative or storyteller, I think this book will appeal to you because it doesn't follow traditional narrative structure. In my naive, uneducated opinion, it doesn't follow the clear, template Joseph Campbell, hero's journey, whatever.
Oh, totally. Like when I was watching it,
right.
I haven't read the book yet, but
Sure.
now it's on my list. But it took me a few minutes to kind of ask myself, what if
What's
this is
going
real?
on?
What
Yeah.
if this is commentary?
Yeah.
Which world are we in and where are we going?
Yeah.
But I like that.
Yeah,
I like
it's
that.
elevated.
Yeah.
It's elevated, sophisticated. Back on the book, it's not that long a book. It's a very satisfying read. It's the first part of the book is written like a screenplay, so it's commentary on the medium of
Look
screen
at you.
and TV. So
You're giving a good elevator pitch for the show and the book. You
Oh,
were
yeah.
good at the elevator pitch, my friend.
it's a good book. It's easy to pitch things that you believe in, right?
I like
And so I read the book, and then I thought it was a great story, and then I actually thought they could never adapt this for
Really?
screen.
Because it's too complex.
It's too complicated. It's like
Yeah.
I thought it was impossible to adapt, and little did I know that the author Charles Yi, I think one of the smartest guys in Hollywood right now,
he did the adaptation, right?
yeah, he was working on it, and we have Taika Waititi directing it, and
Some
EP
heavy
it.
hitters making this show.
Yeah, heavy hitters, and so like when it came in, your earlier question was like, was this too difficult to wrap my head around? It was like, no, because it was a dream project. It's got Taika, it's got Charles Yi. It's based on this book that I love. It's elevated.
It's got Jimmy O Yang.
It's got Jimmy O
a
Yang,
star.
my good friend. It's
Yeah.
Hulu's behind it. They're gonna put budget behind it, and they've created this very elevated, sophisticated show that's kind of perfect for this post-peak TV world that we're in.
Yeah.
Right, because we're kind of in we're kind of like in the aftermath of this streaming wars, as you were saying. It's hard to pitch stuff anymore. No
It's
one's
hard.
buying anything because it's a bit of a wasteland out
Money's
here.
dried out some.
Yeah, but so in this environment, I mean, what better show to make than a show making commentary on TV shows?
That's also an action show.
That's also an
That's
action
also fun
show.
to watch.
That's funny and and again, also like it's we've had Beef, we've had Shogun, we've had
This is kind of
movie.
a moment now that you talk about it.
Right?
Because
But
Beef won so many Emmys. Shogun won so many Emmys.
Yeah.
This is, I will say, I don't know that 6-7 years ago
Sure.
we were talking about this many shows that were as Asian as those shows are.
Sure. And
What do you think
more
that's
importantly,
about?
they're good. They're great shows.
And they're
right?
good.
Yeah.
Do you think there's like something happening or it just happened to happen?
I don't know. I think maybe people. One benefit of having untold stories or underrepresented stories is that it's like a gold mine for ideas.
Yeah.
Right? Because everyone, I guess good TV and good movies are original and unique, and so what hasn't been told yet are kind of all Asian stories, Native American stories, African American stories. These are always like gold mines for
totally.
So
And, like,
I guess that's what's kind of happening.
And like this is the thing that executives always forget. white people will watch anything if it's good.
Yeah,
More white people watched Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and The
Yeah.
Cosby Show
But
and
no, but-
Moesha than black people.
But no, that's a great point. That's a point that everyone should remember is
Yeah.
that this, like this representation stuff, I think is a bit of a misnomer. It's a bit of a.
Well, now watch out now. This representation. Okay.
Oh no,
if
come
you
at me. Come at me. I'm okay. Yeah, come at me at the
Yeah.
comments. It's fine.
Finish
I
your
got-
thought though. Sorry,
Oh,
I cut
no,
you
no.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a. It's kind of like a red herring, in fact, because like we all want representation, but what we really want is great stories. We don't want like representation in bad shit, right? so don't the tail's kind of wagging the dog
Yeah.
a little bit in terms of like you want great stories. You don't want
Yeah.
So that's how I feel.
I
about
totally.
it.
Well, and it's like you say you want representation, but is what you actually want freedom?
It's not something you can complain your way out of.
Explain.
You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
can't. If your issue is that Asian men are not represented well in media,
Mhm.
the thing is like complaining about it doesn't make it better because it actually makes your position look even worse. Because look at these people just complaining about not being strong. It's like that's not what strong people do. So you just keep reinforcing the thing. So the only way to break out of it is to do cool shit. That's
Yeah.
the only way to do it, So
Okay.
yeah, so that's the other aspect of it that's interesting is like even us talking about it reinforces it. So the problem is if you want to stop it, you just got to do dope shit, Yeah.
People will hear that and say, "Okay, go do dope
Yes,
stuff,"
yes, yeah,
but
yeah.
you got to get greenlit.
Yeah.
And how many Asian American executives are at these
No,
studios?
that's the other problem. Yeah, that's the other problem.
Who's
For
saying
sure.
yes and who's saying no?
For sure, yeah. Because we keep thinking about representation on screen, but you want representation.
Come on.
Execs,
Who controls the budget?
executives and
Exactly.
producers? Yeah.
Well, and it's like, especially in this moment where it's like the only thing execs want to bank on is reliable IP.
Yeah.
It was like the reliable IP are like the white stories you've been telling for decades. 'Cause that's how the IP works.
Sure. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but I guess because I'm a first generation immigrant here, I have a more hopeful view of it, or
I
more
can tell.
positive
Yeah,
view in
I like
terms of
that.
like this is still the biggest show business industry in the world, America. So like for all its
And the
many,
biggest exporter of culture.
biggest export is American soft power is created by Hollywood right here, that dominated the world it's still dominating the world to be honest. And so this is still the biggest market, the biggest budget, the most talented people, the most freedom of expression is here. So yeah, for all its many problems that you just described, and there are many, but this is still the place to do it. That's how I feel. Anyway,
Okay.
this is still the place to do it. If you are going to do it, there's no guarantees, but if you're able to do it, you'll be doing it here.
We love a little Ronny Chieng pep talk. I like
Oh, yeah,
this.
yeah.
Okay. Like, did you always feel that way?
Yeah. I've been trying to come back for 30 years now.
Huh.
Wait, I left America in 1993.
Where'd you go?
And I came back in 2015. So what is that? 20 years? That's 22 years. Yeah, 22 years. I went back to my family went back to Malaysia and Singapore.
Yeah.
And then I was in Australia for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I only moved to America in 2015.
You left Australia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I lived there for 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking about the creative environment to make a show like this one
Yeah.
about Asian identity.
Yeah.
Fully Asian show.
Yeah.
And I remember after George Floyd, in that moment of racial reckoning,
Yeah.
all of these studios were like, we're doing these shows.
Sure.
We're going there.
Sure.
And then that moment kind of stopped.
Sure.
And so it feels like this is a different moment to release a show like Interior Chinatown than it would have been 2 years ago. Because I sometimes think that the creative conversation about identity is happening less now. Do you even think about that as this show launches?
Is it happening less? I feel like if anything, it's
Yeah.
still.
It's still happening? Say
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
Say
I
more.
think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. If anything, I think if you ask me what my vibe of the culture is right now, it's that people are pushing back against identity politics. So in that sense, it's still in the conversation, right? It's the counter.
It's counter.
It's the
Yeah.
counter conversation. So in that sense, it's still in the conversation. But I also think that like again, this is in a post-peak TV world where we had so much content that even 2 years of a pandemic, we
couldn't watch it all.
We couldn't watch it all.
We could not
anyway.
watch it all.
Yeah. So my point is like I think with the economic contraction and the cultural issues, I think right now it's a shift towards quality over quantity. You know. So hopefully, you know, that's obviously bad news for people who are working in the industry, but hopefully for the culture it means better stuff, right? Because again, like, look, I like getting a paycheck as much as anybody, but ultimately the thing that moves the needle is good
stuff,
good quality stuff. So hopefully this contraction means quality over quantity. But I don't know. That's just my hope.
You are refreshingly optimistic for someone in this industry right now. Because I talk to folks around town and they're like, "What's happening?"
No, it's I'm in a lucky position, and so I get it, you know. So like I said, the contraction is real, and there's people suffering out there for sure, you know. But I mean, I don't know. I was always enamored with American show business. So I mean,
when did you first know, like, I love American show business? Was there like what was your show as a kid? What was your thing as a kid?
So when I was a kid, but the first shows I would watch was that kind of late 80s, early 90s sitcom era, right? So it's all Family Matters, Home Improvement, and Seinfeld, and Mad About You. And so
people sleep on Mad About You.
Mad About You
I
was
love
great.
that show.
Yeah, Mad About You was great. Paul Reiser,
He's
stand-up
good.
comic.
Helen Hunt.
Helen Hunt was in it. Yeah, and then he was an Alien. Like he was a stand-up comic who who was at the Comedy Cellar every night, and then he was an Alien, and he's Mad About You. You know, it's or maybe Mad About You first, and then Aliens. It was great. But Seinfeld was the one that was like, you know, my parents and I would watch it all the time, and so that was kind of like I guess I didn't fully understand the significance of it, but it was just because we took it for granted that you know TV was great.
Now I want an all Asian Seinfeld.
All Asian Seinfeld, it's all right. We did it. It's all right. Seinfeld did it, but he was the one he was the first guy I saw to ever do stand up comedy. Because he did it in the interstitials.
Oh yeah.
Right, and I in
the show.
And I was like, man, I didn't even know that was a I didn't even know that was a form of self-expression.
Yeah.
You just go on stage and just tell jokes. Like I didn't know. Yeah. And I told my mom I wanted to do that.
So she was like, "Okay, go ahead."
I remember she didn't say don't do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was something.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have been talking about how there's been this big shift in Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know, post-peak TV.
Yeah.
We're in this other moment with The Daily Show where all of a sudden the political landscape has changed in a big way.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking about how, for someone like you and your team on the show, how does that shift change how you make people laugh? Because when I think about the average Daily Show watcher, listener, they probably did not vote for Trump.
Yeah, hard to say.
Hard to say.
But
I
sure.
think
I can agree with that. Yeah.
And I think a lot of those viewers who are perhaps optimistic in the last few months in the run-up to this election, they're now sad, dejected, pessimistic, in a crappy mood.
Yeah.
Knowing that shift just happened,
does
it shift how you're talking on The Daily Show?
Does it shift how we're talking?
Because their mood has shifted, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think we addressed the disappointment on the show because that's the feeling in the air. So in that sense, it affected what we said because, you know, at the show, I think we pride ourselves on being very in tune with what's, you know, happening in American political culture. So in that sense, it affected it. But in the other sense, it doesn't overall because we still have to make these dumb jokes and we don't really. I think we take pride in not pandering.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have our finger on the pulse, but
yeah.
But just to talk about what's in the zeitgeist, but I think we take pride in not pandering, and you know, I think good satire shouldn't pander anyway. You're just, you know, taking swings at everybody, and we don't think about that when we're doing the show. We're thinking about what's funny, you know.
Yeah.
Well, we don't. That's honestly our primary agenda. It's like what's funny in the.
Do you think it's going to be harder to do that and stay in that mode these next 4 years?
I don't think so. I mean, we did it. He was president 2016 to 2020.
Are you
and
tired this time?
We're very tired. Yeah, we were
Say
tired. I was
more.
already tired. Yeah, we were tired back then. Even we're tired doing it. We're very tired.
Yeah.
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 It's like being a doctor in an ER room. You're
Say
just
more.
exhausted.
Yeah.
You're exhausted, but you're also like desensitized because you've seen it. You see every single day. You see the car crashes every day. So you're like, which I think being objective is probably better for satire as well.
What presidency was the Daily Show team anticipating?
I don't.
I know a lot of folks who
it's hard for me
thought
to-
that it was going to be different results.
Yeah, it's hard for me to speak for the whole show, but
Yeah.
I think it was pretty clear that Trump was in the lead. The data supported it. I mean, the last Nate Silver prediction
Not him.
probability, the probability I saw, he had Trump at 56%, which is
that'll do it.
yeah, which he was in the lead. He was
Yeah.
in the lead all the time. And also,
Yeah.
is it that surprising? Because, first of all, I mean, Biden was a weak candidate, right? So we knew that from the start, meaning from the start, he was already up against it. And he dropped out, and Kamala, took over with 13 weeks. So it was always the underdog campaign.
It really was one of
You
those
know what I mean?
situations where it's like,
Yeah. And
y'all really did this to the black lady.
and
Come on in, you have 100 days.
Yeah, you're 100 days. And the only reason it was close was because she ran a good campaign. You know what I mean? If she didn't run a good campaign, it wouldn't even have been 56, 43, whatever the probabilities were. It would have been way more. So did we... I mean, we're not surprised. I don't know. I don't think we were surprised
Yeah.
that we were hopeful, but not surprised. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that the climate in which comedy gets to be made and political satire gets to be made will change? I ask this because I keep seeing reports of there's going to be enemies list, and now newspapers that used to endorse candidates are not. And there's this fear I feel in some circles of a chilling effect,
Right.
and either a self-censoring or something bigger happening with commentary, discourse, comedy.
Yeah.
Do you feel it coming?
Maybe I'm inherently very nihilistic, so I'm like, no, I don't truly. We don't think about that at the show. I don't know. Maybe it's hard for me to speak for the entire building, but no, I think America has very strong freedom of speech protections, both legally and culturally. I think Americans don't know what lack of freedom of speech actually looks like.
What does it look like?
It looks like the government coming after you. And if you're not from America, in some other countries that I've lived in, they come after you.
Come on, talk to the camera. Let them know.
Yeah, they come after you, and it's different. Like in America, the level at which people start complaining about the lack of freedom of speech is very low. You can say almost anything you want here in America. Trust me, compared to other countries. We were talking about Trump for 4 years, and we're still talking about Trump. So I mean, am I worried? I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not that worried, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know there's a lot of bluster about it, but I don't know. Is he gonna come into the building and tell Jon Stewart what to? I don't know. It's I'm not that worried about it. Yeah.
Which country that you spent time in, because you spent time in several, had the worst climate for political
Freedom of
free
speech?
Yeah.
There's a lot of Asian countries where people don't really know how to take a joke the way that we do in America.
Yeah.
In America, people get angry.
Yeah.
But I think at a broad cultural level, people here know how to take a joke. And not to mention, again, there's legal protections.
You are allowed to make the joke.
Yeah, that's the whole point of the Constitution, is to protect people from the government. So the government coming after someone for saying something in America is it's unheard of, Yeah. I mean, look, you get in trouble. Obviously, you get into trouble. But the force of the federal government coming after you for a joke, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
Do you think Trump might change that? There's all this talk of the enemies list. He's got lists.
Yeah, he's got lists. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, like I said, the only thing I can judge of is that we did it for 4 years before, and
you
fine,
made it.
So
Daily Show is still here.
Yeah, so I don't
and
know.
y'all went after that guy.
Yeah, we. I mean, yeah. So also, I think when you do comedy and when you do satire, you can't live in fear, right? You gotta be a bit fearless when you do comedy, especially political satire. You gotta be inherently a little bit fearless.
How
I'm not. I'm
fearless
not.
are
I'm
you?
not. I'm not talking about bravado. I'm just talking inherent. How can you do the job if you're like, oh, what's he gonna say? If you know, oh, what about these people? It's like you gotta be
Yeah.
fearless, and you have to combine fearlessness with talent and art, and knowing where the line is and knowing what you're doing. You know,
Okay.
yeah. I just gotta clarify this though,
Oh yeah.
because I think a lot of people
Yeah.
think that comedy is only being fearless and saying awful things. That's not comedy.
Okay.
Comedy is the art of saying something fearlessly and getting people to get behind it. That's the art.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are forgetting that, I think, with
Yeah.
comedy. A lot of untalented people are thinking that comedy is just saying whatever you want to say. There
Oh,
has
yeah.
to be a joke behind it.
Thank you
So-
for saying that. I actually have this conversation with every comic I talk to right now.
And the
I'm so over comedians
Yeah.
loving to make jokes that make nobody laugh.
Sure, yeah.
You're supposed to laugh.
Yeah.
That's the point.
And the thing is, like, edgy comedy is often the best comedy. But the problem is that the people who are great at it make it look so easy that all these pretenders think that, oh, all it is just saying something awful, and it's not. You know, there's
Yeah.
art to it. There's art to
Yeah.
it.
There was one interview I was reading of yours
Yeah.
where you're like, people think that because they can be funny sometimes that they're as good as a comedian, but
Sure,
a comedian's doing something different.
Yeah, and it looks easy because it's just a guy talking. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like someone doing a slam dunk,
Yeah.
which looks physically impossible. But
Yeah.
like someone just telling a joke, everyone's like, I could do that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an art form, and everyone's like, what's the line and all that, and there is a line. It's something you have to learn, and it's not my job to teach anybody how to do comedy. So
Okay.
my job is to do it. And if you want to find out how to do it, go freaking jump on stage and learn it. Because it took me 10 years to figure it out. So there's nothing I can tell you to teach it to you. And also, I don't want to teach it to you. I don't care if you ever learn how to do comedy.
If you were forced to have the Ronny
No.
Chieng School of Comedy,
I wouldn't.
they paid you $1 billion.
No, I wouldn't do it.
But for the hypothetical, go with it.
I
What's
do
your
a
first
master class. My first class is go jump on stage. I mean, if you gave me $1 billion, I'd teach some crap to, you know, but that's not, you know, you just got to jump on stage and get stage time and learn in front of an actual human crowd. And you'll learn, believe me, you'll learn very quickly where the line is.
What was your first time on stage like? I'm very curious. First time. Do you remember?
Yeah, I did I was doing like a university campus comedy competition. That was the
In
first time on
Australia,
stage.
law school,
In
right?
Australia, yeah.
So
you
you
know,
were a
school.
law student who was
Yeah.
all of a sudden like, I'm going to do comedy.
Yeah.
And the best crowd to try it out in front of are law students.
Yeah.
Such a fun bunch.
Yeah.
How
but,
was it?
But when you're a college kid, that's, you know what I mean?
That's where
Like,
you do it, yeah.
yeah, and it was an opportunity to go on stage. As in, it was the university competition, right? So all you had to do was sign up.
Okay.
So I just signed up, and I was just like, I feel like I could do this. So let me see if I can.
Did you bomb?
No, I won the competition. I have a video of it.
Oh, really?
Somewhere. Yeah, I have a video of it.
Okay.
Like of my very, very first set.
So, doing comedy in Australia and having spent time in Malaysia, New Hampshire, Singapore,
Yeah, very random.
which country has the best crowds?
America.
You say
By
it's a
far.
matter of factly.
Yeah, it's a Western art form. Stand-up comedy is a Western art form, so Western countries naturally get it better because they've seen it before. They have a history of people saying controversial, outlandish things and people laughing at it. We all get the context of it better here. Not always, but I'm just saying better. You know, I think we get it as a art form, and I think in America and Australia, but let's just say America, like when we go for comedy, most of the time, if we go for someone we like,
You're strapping in knowing what you're going to get. And
right,
You want it.
yeah, and you also go understanding that you're surrendering to the experience of the artist, right? Like, let's say your favorite comedian, if you go watch him or
Ronny
her.
Chieng.
Oh, okay. Well, you come watch me. I presume you go and be like, hey, whatever happened, like you surrender to the experience.
Yeah.
Versus, I think sometimes in Asian countries, people don't. They think of it as a commodity that they're purchasing and not an art form they're experiencing, and so they'll come and they'll be like, I paid money. Why isn't he joking about this? This is what I want to hear. He should joke about this. Whereas I think in America, no one goes to see, you know, Dave Chappelle going, I want him to joke about this. You go like, I hope he jokes about this, but whatever happens, happens. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like you're going, you surrender to the experience. But I think sometimes Asian countries, I don't know if they know how to surrender to the experience of stand-up comedy.
Huh.
Yeah.
I had never heard it talked about that way. I
Yeah.
guess it makes sense. Stand-up comedy is a Western thing.
Yeah, I started here. It requires a lot of freedom of speech. It
Yeah.
requires, like there's a context to it, and we've had it here for so long now. Not that it's a very young art form,
Yeah.
even in America.
Yeah.
But we've had so many iterations of it now, right?
Mhm.
Well, like in America, it's one thing that's good about America is it's very cutting edge, for better or
Man,
for
let me
worse.
tell you, Ronnie. I was preparing for this chat yesterday, and I was like, we're gonna have a conversation talking about the demise of freedom of comedy and the dire straits for American comedy and America what's doing. You're boosting. You're a booster.
Maybe
You're a
I'm wrong.
booster.
Maybe I'll get
No,
arrested
I mean,
tomorrow.
I like to
so I
hear
don't
it
know.
as a Texan American.
Oh yeah.
I need the pep talk right now.
Oh sure. Yeah.
Because I go to
Yeah.
Instagram and everyone is like, yeah, the world's on fire. It's done.
Yeah.
But you are very much a booster of a lot of American ideals right now.
Yeah, that's the reason why I'm here. So I really feel that way, and obviously a lot of problems, and I'm not denying the problems. I'll let other people talk about the problems. You're
Okay.
asking me about comedy and show business. That's how
That's how
I
you
feel about it. And I think the what was I saying about the Asian the art form? Oh yeah, in America we've had so many iterations of comedy, right? From the 50s, 60s, Lily Tomlin on the answering machine,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
bit. Carson and Lenny Bruce, and then Lenny Bruce was before Lily Tomlin, and then we get to the 80s and Tim Allen, then we get to 2000s and Hannibal Buress and Aziz, and then we get to whatever it is. So we've had so much comedy here. People are like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? And so that cutting edge is also, I think, what keeps American comedy at
Ronny
its peak.
Chieng still believes in America.
I do.
Take that to the bank.
I do. Come after me.
I feel like everyone's in a pissy mood.
Yes.
Liberals are mad.
Yes.
Conservatives are mad.
Yes.
Everyone's aggrieved.
Yeah.
Am I just...
Am
I making this up?
No, you're not making
Everyone's
it
so pissed off.
up. People are pissed off, but I think that and legitimate reasons too. I also think that a lot of it is caused by. The way to combat that is to have perspective and be less pissy, right?
That's easy. How do you do that?
Yeah, I don't know. You gotta find the perspective. Find the perspective in whatever you're doing, right? That's how I approached it, and I don't know. I just for me just being pissy about it doesn't help me in my life or creatively.
Yeah.
So
I find that I'm less pissy about everything when I'm not staring at my phone.
No, well, that's my next point. Yeah, the social
Same.
media is obviously, comment section are not reality. I get to travel around America doing comedy because I've been on tour for over a year now. And every city I go to, people are very nice to me. So
Ronny Chieng
There's
believes in
more-
America. This is
Yeah.
the story of this interview. I love it.
I
love it.
There's more good people than bad people in America, I think, still, right? When you
Okay.
walk around,
You say that, and
well,
a lot of
face
folks...
to face, right? When you face to face in America, I think we encounter way more good or neutral people than bad people on a daily basis. I think, right? Face to face.
What's that ratio online?
Online is completely reversed. Online is you'd be lucky to meet one nice person online.
Yeah.
But I think we're too caught up. You know what I mean? That's what I mean by the comment section aren't real, and we don't know what's on the comment section, whether it's foreign interference or people who are not American or whatever.
Or a guy in his basement who is mad about other things.
Yeah, the worst version of people on the internet,
Yeah.
right? The worst version of themselves,
Yeah.
So you meet that person, like someone who's off on the internet, you meet them in real life. That might not even
Half
be
the
them.
stuff they say, they wouldn't say it to your face.
Yeah.
They wouldn't say it to your face.
Or they might not even believe it, to be honest. Like, they might not even believe it truly themselves. They're just saying it just to get it out. So, yeah, anyway, but your point is correct. Like, stay off the internet
Stay
a little
off your
bit.
phone.
Yeah, don't be too extremely online.
But go online
Yeah.
to watch Ronnie and all of his stuff.
Sure, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when you can watch.
Sure, yeah, if you want.
Something you...
No comment section on Netflix, so.
That's true.
Or Hulu, so, yeah.
I wonder what a comment section on your specials would look like.
Oh.
I told you I was watching you this morning before I was coming in today, and in your 2022 special, you do something that I was like, how's he going to get away with this?
Oh, right.
You are in front of this crowd,
Oh, yeah.
and you're like, which race is the worst race?
Yeah.
And the crowd is like,
Yeah.
and you're like, no, which one? And then you tell them all to, like, on the count of 3,
Yeah.
yell out
The worst race.
the worst race. What happens?
Oh, they yell. I can't remember what happened because I did that joke on tour, but people would yell out pretty crazy things. People would yell out pretty crazy things.
What was the craziest response you heard to that question?
Man, someone said, Chinese Malaysians are the worst race.
Very specific.
Yeah, I guess they were trying to make it about me or something. Yeah.
Well, the punchline is.
Oh yeah, you
do
better tell
this,
the punchline before.
The punchline is like they yell
Whoever-
about. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I can't remember what was it.
So not everyone yells out something.
Yeah.
But those that do, they yell out, and you go, whoever yelled out anything, you're the worst race.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Oh yeah, thanks.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of what you're talking about in this whole conversation is like how to just keep doing the work in spite of the yelling from every corner.
Yeah.
You have this quote. You said it in I forget which interview,
Sure.
but you told Uprocks once that, quote, the true job of comedians these days as professionals is to not overreact to other people overreacting.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Yeah, I stand by that. I'm also in a weird job. I do comedy. So I'm not even saying this mindset is good for everyone. You know what I mean? Like
doctors can't do this.
Yeah, probably. Well, maybe doctors should be objective, but my tolerance for what's unacceptable is very different to a normal human's. So I'm a weirdo. So don't take this as personal.
But is the path to Zen to get more like Ronnie and expand our view of what is acceptable? You seem very much at peace, and I'm like, maybe I should get more in that mindset.
Oh yeah, I mean, you expand what's acceptable. You're talking about expanding the Overton window.
Expanding what I choose to react or overreact.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've all been tricked the last 10 years on the internet about like there's outrage about this, and it's really just like 5 people who may or may not even be humans, like being outraged about it, and that outrage, that small outrage, generates more outrage against that because people are angry that anyone will get angry at this.
Yes.
And
how dare you get angry about that?
Yeah.
I'm angry at you now.
Exactly, and I think that anger is kind of what the culture war that Trump won on is about. Is about people who are angry at things that actually not that many people are angry about, and also that didn't really affect everyone's life.
It wasn't even like this.
It wasn't a thing.
Most Americans,
Yeah.
complaining about things like
Trans
who gets
rights
to use the
or-
bathroom.
Yeah, that's
have you ever spoken to a trans person?
Exactly. So all this stuff got, quite frankly, blown out of proportion, and people got really mad about it. And I think that's kind of what propelled this culture war, and the people who are politicians who are actively campaigning on culture war. And the problem with the culture war is that it is oftentimes not real.
Well, and the issue with the culture war, it's like it's perpetual because the culture war is not actually in the bigger picture about the thing.
Exactly.
It is about continuing the cycle of outrage.
Exactly. And the only
The
way
culture war is won not by who's right on the issues. It's won by who does the better job of perpetuating the outrage. And the outrage can be applied to any number of things.
Yes. And that obviously that definition of victory is favoring the people who are in the business of getting attention.
Who got loudest, who got maddest, that's who wins.
Right. But the real way to win that cycle of culture war is to get very Buddhist about it, is to remove yourself from the cycle of outrage.
Okay. Are you Buddhist?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So, but like,
is this the path of my enlightenment? I want whatever energy you got right now. I want you to bottle it.
You don't
give
want
it to
any of
me.
this. You're doing fine. You don't need me to give you any advice. But but definitely take yourself out of the I think as cutting edge as American culture is, I think there's a lag between all of America and the reality of what's happening, and the lag is that I think comics and I have realized by doing comedy on stage, talking to real people and making jokes about it and hearing what other people are joking about, I think oftentimes we're on the cutting edge of what the culture is.
You're seeing it more holistically.
Yeah, and we saw it in 2018. We saw that the woke stuff is kind of getting old. People aren't as woke.
Watch what you're saying. The woke stuff getting old. You gonna piss some people off?
No, I mean the yeah, come at me again if you wanna. I'm okay, I guess.
I want a supercut of all the times Ronny Chieng said at camera,
Yeah,
come
just
at
come
me.
at me. It's okay.
I love it.
Like people aren't as woke outrage as everyone, the media was portraying it to be. Not in a bad way.
Mhm.
Not that people were hateful or that they want empathetic.
Mhm.
They just want as angry about people saying the wrong thing as we thought they were. You know what I mean? Like we thought that, when you say woke, you associate it with people who are policing.
Mhm.
I mean, there's other qualities, but one of the qualities of woke, stereotypes of woke people, is that they are policing what other people are saying.
Yeah.
And I guess my point is, being on stage, I was like, people aren't that sensitive.
Also, I don't have that much time. I remember something happened in my 20s.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I noticed this reality in which people of color who were not black began to say the N-word.
Right.
Without caring about it. And folks were like, Sam, are you mad? Are you mad? I was like, I got to go to work.
Right.
I'm trying to pay my rent.
Sure.
I'm exhausted.
Sure.
I cannot run around
Caring
finding
about
these brown kids being like, I heard you.
Right.
Of course, I don't want you to do it, but like, what is the best use of my time?
Sure. And I think most people would probably agree that you shouldn't say that. You know what I mean? So it's not even a real thing that is in the culture. It's just some people may have said it. Other people were asking if you're outraged about it. So again, it's just this weird.
Also, my assumption is that all kinds of people, when the doors are closed and the song comes on, they say it.
Oh.
And what can I do?
I don't know. I sing a lot of karaoke.
Well, like karaoke, you got to be right. You can't be half stepping.
Oh, you mean at home?
I'm saying you're in the shower.
Oh, yeah.
Gold Digger is on.
That I don't know.
And you're
I can't.
Yeah.
I'm proud to say I've never said it even.
Look at you.
In my shower.
I'm
a true ally.
You keep going up in my book, man.
Oh,
you're zen. You're doing it right.
Right. Well, I don't know if I'm doing it right, but I do think that I've definitely. We felt that in 2018 is my point.
Yeah.
And
So you saw it coming.
Yeah, the lag is America hasn't realized that yet. That they're angry at people who aren't. It's imaginary. It's imaginary people. It's like 5 people on Twitter. If you're anti-woke, you're angry at a thing that isn't even real, because most people are not that unforgiving or sensitive. Is what I found. Of other people's lack of perfection.
Mm-hmm. You said something interesting. You said we saw this coming in 2018. Reading these tea leaves to seeing where the culture would be headed.
Yes.
What do you see now when you tour that we don't see?
I'm talking as far as comedy goes.
Yeah.
That people aren't as sensitive about comedy as everyone thinks. Meaning you can go on stage and you can pretty much say anything as long as you can have a joke to it.
Yeah.
Right. And that is, that was something I felt in 2018, and it's still here. So, yeah, it's a good question. I might have to think about that a bit. Yeah.
I will tell you what I think I see coming,
Sure.
I will test the theory by you.
Sure.
We were in this moment where everyone felt the need to be a part of a big national conversation online. You were plugging in and locking in to argue with strangers that were in New York or California or Florida.
Yes. Extremely online.
Extremely online and extremely connected to this whole larger matrix.
Yeah.
And now what's happening is this incredible decentralization.
Yeah.
And there's no more one front page of the internet. And so much of the energy that used to go on Twitter is now like in my group chats. And I feel like we're moving into this moment of like social conversation and perhaps even comedy where it's going to be smaller, more community focused, and like less broad, if that makes sense.
Sure.
I see that coming.
I think not for comedy, but I see, political discussions going
Not
less
for comedy,
online.
though. Say more.
Not for comedy. I think comedy is always going to be,
The big
on the.
conversation.
No, I don't think it's. I don't think it's going to be a big conversation or the biggest, most important thing in the world. I'm just saying that for comedy, you would put it out on the biggest platform. You wouldn't try to limit it.
Yeah,
So
the goal is to have as many folks watch it as possible.
Right. So you wouldn't be scared of the controversy. In fact, the controversy probably helps you a little bit for comedy. But for political discussions, I can see it going into a group. Yeah, I can see that because the internet is becoming so kind of toxic, and I think we're kind of realizing that now, and people are unplugging a bit. Yeah.
Are you unplugging a bit?
Yeah, yeah, I did. Yeah, yeah. I unplugged off Twitter. I hired people to do social media for me, which I feel awful
Can
about
you tell every
because I
other
feel like I'm
celebrity
paying.
to do it?
I feel like I'm paying people to get brain damage
No,
from me
I
right now.
think this is the way. I love it when a celebrity says, you know what? Someone else can do my socials. Because when celebrities do their socials too much,
Yeah, you
they
don't be too
mess up.
accessible.
They mess up.
They mess up, and also I just don't think you should be that accessible as a performer, as a comic. I think you shouldn't be that accessible. I've had it weird because I'm lucky. I've managed to find a place in legacy media. I never had to play the internet game, so
Yeah.
I'm very like screw the internet. I don't have to care about it. I have that luxury.
Yeah.
But I know comics who didn't get hired on shows despite their massive talent, and they had to figure out for themselves. And but regardless, I do think that even if you found success on YouTube or internet mediums, you shouldn't be that accessible. I don't even think you should be explaining comedy, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah,
Say
like
more.
this. Yeah, I
Say
think
more.
I think explaining comedy is like the death of comedy. Trying to explain a joke is the death of comedy,
Woo.
And who are you explaining it to anyway? Like people who ask don't really want to know. They're just like mildly curious. If they really wanted to know, they go do it and find out for themselves. So I there's no benefit from trying to do comedy.
Just
Like
do the work.
just drop the joke is what you wanted to say, not whatever. Like, why are you doing a press conference after your joke to try to justify a fumble or like a freaking a win? Is like, this isn't, yeah. So I think for stand-up comics,
If you have to explain your joke, it's a bad joke.
yeah, I guess, yeah, I guess I don't even know if that's always true. Like, just let it speak for itself,
Let it speak for itself.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, I am so heartened by this chat because
okay.
literally
I'm so-
all I've been seeing after election day is like people in my circles gearing up for an apocalypse. And to
Right.
hear Ronny Chieng come on here and say, America's still good. America's still funny.
There's
Comedy still happens. There are
Yeah.
more good people than bad. I didn't realize how much I needed to hear that.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you're welcome. I think the institutions are strong. I think the separation of powers here is still very strong.
I'm gonna come at you in 4 years. We're gonna
Yeah,
follow
let's
up
see.
on
I
that.
could be in jail tomorrow, so who knows? I'll interview me from jail, and I'll give you a different answer.
I asked a question to your former colleague Roy Wood Jr.
Yeah,
when
he's
he
the
came
best.
on the
Roy
show.
Wood Jr. is the best.
Don't we love him?
Yeah, he's
Give
the
him
greatest.
everything.
He's the greatest. His specials are some of the greatest of all time.
He's so good.
He's had the greatest bits of all time. He's got this Leonardo DiCaprio saying the N-word bit. That's
Wait, I
great.
didn't hear that one.
Oh, it's great.
What's
I'm not gonna spoil it, but
Don't spoil it, okay.
yeah, just watch it. It's about how much of a ally Leonardo DiCaprio is for saying the N-word in Django Unchained. Because every slave movie needs a good villain. It's a great
He
premise.
was a villain in that movie.
Yeah, and it's a great premise. Roy Wood Jr. is one of the greatest. I love Roy. We shared an office together.
What was that like?
It was great. He was my introduction and sounding board to America. He would teach me about, American stuff and African American stuff that I had no idea about. He introduced me to like people in the game who I did not even know.
Okay.
And concepts and things that were happening because I didn't grow up with black people. So yeah, and I couldn't imagine a better person than Roy Wood Jr. to show me about that culture,
Well, there's also this moment where it's like, and I've had people enter my life where I was their first exposure to like blackness, and
Right. Well,
at
my
a certain
excuse is
point-
I'm
you're literally not from here.
Yeah,
like you were
so-
over there. But
yeah.
I always like, there's always this moment when people realize like, all the things that you think are like specific to black people, everybody actually likes.
Sure, yeah,
Everybody likes fried chicken.
sure.
Everybody
yeah.
makes fried chicken.
Everybody likes, yeah.
They got schnitzel in Europe. They got fried wings everywhere else.
Yeah,
Like,
I know. I don't
everyone
know.
eats
I
fried
don't even
chicken.
know why that was like a. Yeah, I agree.
Racism. Yeah,
We got fried chicken in Korea,
I sure do,
so
and I love it.
Yeah,
Although it's funny, the internet tells me that
American GIs brought fried chicken to Korea. Yeah. But they still love it there. So what the hell does that
everybody
mean?
loves it.
Yeah.
It's so good. Anywho,
Yeah.
I'm off track. I will say though, hearing you talk about how awesome Roy was to you when y'all shared an office, he said this too, that the Daily Show is an extremely collaborative place to work, and everyone's pretty nice to each other.
It's very collegiate.
That
very
is
collegiate.
surprising to me because when I think about a bunch of comedians all trying to make the funniest joke every day, I would imagine a lion's den. But it's not.
There's a lot of creative friction for sure, but it's never personal, and that's what the definition of professional is, right? That you do this stuff and it's not personal. So we'll get all these pictures, and when someone literally in front of them will be like, "Oh no, we can't use that. We can't use that." Don't
take it personally.
No one takes it personally. That's what's great about the show, because everyone understands what the environment required to make a comedy show at that level, at that pace, at that quality is just pitching. And so it's like what some stuff hits, even the stuff that doesn't hit might inspire something else that does hit really hard. So once you're and that's what's the best about Daily Show. Not only is it collegiate, it's like all these people who I've never been so lucky to be in an environment where we were a commercial endeavor that we're just trying to make these dumb jokes. No other agenda than make these dumb jokes. Because, sometimes you have to do other gigs, like where you get paid, but you're maybe one of two comics in the room. And it's a room full of non-comics, whether they're executives or copywriters or like just non-comedians. But you're trying to make something together. And when you're in the room with them, it becomes like, oh, there's, you can't even do the funniest thing because there's too many agendas. It's like we can't say that, or this is not what we want to say, or we're scared that this might offend some people or whatever. But when you're at the Daily Show, oh man, it's like we just say the worst possible thing every single time. It's a comedian's dream, because it's like, man, we're just laughing about, it's the best. It's the best. It's like the 92, what I imagine playing on the Dream Team is like. It's just like, damn, everyone here is top of their game. Everyone there's not just the writers, but the producers, the crew, the graphics department. Everyone there is like, it's like the editors, amazing. The field segment producers. It's like working at the Harvard Business School of comedy. So the fame.
Oh, probably a lot less pretentious than Harvard Business School.
I couldn't say. I never went to Harvard, but it's not even about the fame. It's the being able to make stuff with these people and what you learn from it.
Yeah.
The Daily Show, the biggest strength of the Daily Show is what you come out of the Daily Show learning, because you have to learn obviously performing, you have to learn TV writing, you have to learn improv, you learn editing, because in the edit for field pieces, you get to see things put together. You have to learn directing, you learn producing. Dude, you learn so much at the Daily Show. It's truly just,
I love that.
the learning there is.
Yeah. Listen, Ronny Chieng is up on America.
Yeah.
Up on this current moment. You're feeling good? You're feeling
Speak
zen?
to me next week, and we'll see. I'm feeling up right now, but next week.
You're feeling real good right now.
Yeah.
I think this chat is going to be, it was good for me, but I think it's going to be good for our listeners to hear someone who we like and trust say, America's all right.
I think we'll be okay out here in the real world. I think we'll be okay in the real world.
Okay.
Just don't let the internet, capture your ego, and then.
Unless you're watching my show or your show.
Yeah, watching
online.
stuff is okay, but it's just the,
Then
you're
turn
letting.
it off.
Yeah.
Turn it off.
Yeah. The comment section and the other stuff. Yeah.
Ronny thinks we're going to be all right. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
This was delightful.
I hope so.
appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Thanks for
You were
Thanks for
great.
having me on.
Of course. Come back anytime.
Oh yeah, we'll do. Thanks, Sam.
All right.